And our last speaker before the next panel discussion, he is the Chief Executive Officer of AdaptiveMobile Security. He's AdaptiveMobile Security, headquartered in Dublin, Ireland, protects over 2.2 billion mobile subscribers every day from all mobile-related attacks. He will be speaking about threats facing the national critical telecommunication infrastructure. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Brian Collins.
Good afternoon, everybody, and many thanks for attending. Just before I start, I'd just like to pay tribute to Samir and Dave from VirtuPort, and of course all the Marcom team that has organized this conference so well. I've heard a lot of very positive things here about Saudi 2030, an absolutely commendable plan going forward. I've also heard a lot about ransomware, different enterprise attacks. None of that matters unless your national telecommunications infrastructure is secure. So just to tell you, what is your national telecommunications infrastructure? Information technologies and communication networks, which if destroyed, degraded, or rendered unavailable for an extended period, would significantly impact the social or economic well-being of the nation or affect the kingdom's ability to conduct national defense and ensure national security. So if you think of that, it's at the core of absolutely everything you do. 99.7%, I believe, all attacks that end up in the enterprise come through the telecommunications network. So it's not secure. There's significant issues. So what are different parts of national critical infrastructure? Obviously mobile networks, which I will speak on today. There is satellite networks. There's fixed line networks, and of course there is your international connectivity, which brings your internet connectivity into the country. Okay, all of these are specific threat vectors. Okay, every one of them is an attack vector for your adversaries, and I will outline just very quickly going forward who the different adversaries are. So, secure telecommunications are critical to the digital sovereignty, to the kingdom's digital sovereignty, and ultimately to the prosperity of your nation. They are inextricably linked. Security and prosperity. Secure telecommunications infrastructure drives productivity. It promotes market confidence across all sectors. Banking, obviously your oil industry is critical, even to social media. And it's absolutely essential to underpin your economic growth. So your telecommunications infrastructure is absolutely, securing it is critical to your economic growth. However, of course, it's a target. And I saw some of the earlier speakers indicating how you're the biggest target. Saudi is the biggest target for email, scamming. And that's inevitable when you're a country of such high profile, of such wealth, and of your regional dominance in this region. The problem is you have a lot of nosy neighbors. A lot of nosy neighbors. So who's looking? Of course, at the top you have the nation-state spy agencies who are very much concerned with regard espionage, state secrets, tracking, call interception on your mobile phone, data surveillance, looking to see what you're downloading onto your phone, where you are, who you're calling. And of course, that all leads into creating a matrix of intelligence, okay? Intelligence gathering. That goes on every day. As I say, intelligence and spying is the second oldest profession. I won't get into what the first one is. Criminals and terrorists, of course, are the number two. They're only interested in lawlessness, anarchy, and they have to be watched very closely. But their entire focus is to disrupt the economic prosperity of this country, and indeed other countries. Saudi is not alone in this area. And then, of course, you have your fraudsters. Saudi Arabian banking details are the second most treasured details on the dark web because of your perceived and probably actual wealth and your high GDP. Okay? Anywhere on the dark web, anyone who can collect Saudi banking details, they are the biggest target. So also scamming. Everyone, I'm sure, has received, be it a text message or an email from someone pretending who they are, and offering you great riches or getting you to download. There's a technology that is roaming around this region at the moment, which if you click on the wrong message, will turn your microphone on your phone into a listening device. Now, it's kind of reserved for very, very important people, but that technology is operating right now. It will only get worse. I'm not here to frighten anyone, but it's a reality. So your mobile phone at the moment is the strongest vector for major attacks, both from a national security standpoint and also on individuals. So people are probably aware of the amount of different media coverage there has been. Telecoms to date has been based on trust. That is the one word that is overrated. That and working 12 hours a day, both overrated. But everything, so telecoms is entirely based on trust. You see there are articles from different newspapers, you've probably seen them and scanned. The entire aspect of telecoms, particularly when you're roaming, is that your details are shared between, because when you roam, let's say you go to Turkey or something like that, the most important thing the Turkish operator whose network you're on wants is your details to ensure they can bill, okay? That they will be paid for you using their network. But what if those details are not coming from the Turkish operator? What if it's one of your adversaries or someone is targeting you? Okay, so the whole concept of trust and minding your telephone number, absolutely. Trust is overrated. In fact, in my view, it should be banned from the English language. So, mobile networks and smartphones, they have very quickly moved into be the #1 target. Everyone's probably aware of this statistic. I don't claim any originality on that. Is your smartphone, your iPhone 6 and 7, is 120 million times more powerful than the computers that landed the Apollo 11 on the moon 50 years ago last month. 120 million times more powerful. So that device in your pocket that we all use, I take it everyone has one, is absolutely essential. But that's why it's such a rich reservoir of data for the attacker. And if it's a nation state, if it's a criminal, or it's a fraudster, that's what they're looking for, to access that phone. The reason is pretty simple, and it's very obvious insofar as your phone yields location, who you call, when you call them, from where you call them, how often you call them, what you say, what services you use, what banking apps you use, what websites you visit, what you download. There are 3 aspects to your mobile phone. There is your MISDN, your MSISDN, that is your mobile phone number. There's your IMSI, which you're probably all aware of, you put in your phone, International Mobile Subscriber Identifier. That identifies your network you're on. And then there's the IMEI, your International Mobile Equipment Identifier, which identifies your actual device. That is going to become ever more important when you move to 5G. And having seen your plans for 2030, I believe Saudi Arabia is the ideal location for 5G with such a young demographic that's going to drive the digitalization of this country. 5G is made for Saudi Arabia, so it's a major opportunity. But your IMEI, International Mobile Equipment Identifier, identifies your device. If an attacker has all 3, it's over. He can do everything. Under 5G, your IMEI is going to become more important. So just be careful where you leave your details, okay? You're fortunate in the kingdom insofar as you have very, very good cyber expertise, okay, who are absolutely tuned into the reality of these attacks, but don't take anything for granted. So I just want to show you an attack, if you could roll it there. This is how the Russians do it when they want to get your details. This took place a few years back when Russia was in dispute with Ukraine, okay? So if we so here, the Russians pretended they were a mobile operator in the south of the country. They contacted the DB, which is the database, which are all the details are handled. They indicated they wanted to send a message to a Ukrainian subscriber. Once they had fooled the Ukrainian network that It was a legitimate request, even though it wasn't a legitimate operator. It was the FSB. The server, the HLR, the database, sent back details of this subscriber, which allowed the Russians very simply and very cleverly, you'll see, send a number of different commands, thing like an ISD, insert subscriber detail, a call forwarding demand. Basically, they discovered where he is. When they had the location, all they simply did was send a command to route every call to a listening station in Nizhny Novgorod in Russia. Okay? It's as simple as that. Okay? So if you have a nation state chasing you, they will make that issue. The one point, there are multiple aspects to that, and this doesn't happen every day, but it can be as simple as that. Okay? So that's how the Russians and the FSB, there's probably 5 countries in the world that are particularly, would I say, innovative, but are highly experienced in surveillance. And once again, because of your regional profile, because of your wealth, and because of who you are and always in use, you guys are always a target. Okay? So just moving on. So what is required to ensure your country is protected? So quite simply, strong regulation to ensure the carriers are coordinated and providing strong security blanket. You've heard many speakers speak about correlation of data. You know, if one carrier gets attacked, they should automatically share with another carrier to try and stop, to be able to correlate attacks, because they will come from different places. The Russians, before the election in the US, used, I think, about 9 African countries to get access to the US. They were able to hack the telecommunications equipment to make sure it couldn't get traced back to them. It was eventually traced back. Government and national security agencies' involvement is essential. You know, the carriers have to be assisted. STC are a big player, Mobile, Zain, they have to be assisted, okay? Because you are fighting nation states, okay? And strong correlation, once again, all agencies to ensure that all attacks are mapped and compared to ensure the attacker is identified. This will require continuous forensic analysis. And I'm delighted to say some of the plans we were outlined last night indicates to us that you have that capability to be able to work out, because you've got, if you don't know who you're fighting, you'll never overcome them. And then this will require continuous forensic analysis. So the target, you need to analyze who the target was when we provide that level of detail. The origin of the attack is mapped. Global title. Global title is basically an IP address for a piece of telecom equipment. AdaptiveMobile examined 45 billion events every day. We handle 40,000 telecom events every second. And of course, we break it down to only the ones that we suspect are dangerous to countries like Saudi Arabia. And once again, just to reiterate, your IMSI, your MISDN, and your IMEI, all critical pieces of information that you should not distribute easily. We speak about the Facebooks and the Google. Everyone loves signing up, but there is a cost to free. There is a real cost to free. And that depends how critical, who you are, where you are in the world, and how important your data is. Okay? But don't be fooled. I mean, your data is personal to you, or your information might be critical to the country. Don't be careless with it. And finally, just a slight bit of light relief. I just want to show a list of services that were being provided on the dark web. Okay, this is a Russian hacking team operating in Eastern Europe, and they offer a wide range of services. You'll see it here. So they want to be paid in Bitcoin because of anonymity. I've just put in the US dollar equivalent, but you'll see for up to $3,000, they'll hack your web server. They'll set up a keylogger, which isn't that particularly hard, $170. DDoS, they'll organize a DDoS attack. I don't know if they'll do country DDoS, but they'll definitely do an enterprise DDoS, roughly around 2,500. We have seen deals done for about 1,750. They'll hack your personal computer. They'll hack your cell phone, depending where it is in the world, for about 300 or to 300 or 600. This is all the dark web. But the one I like, and gentlemen, if I'd known this 25 years ago, the one I like is change school grades. Now, if I'd have known that 25 years ago, I would be a brain surgeon right now. I wouldn't be here talking to you. But basically what I'm saying to you is everything's available. In the digital world, everything's under threat. The latest update on this has a video that attaches people hacking a pacemaker in a hospital. Pacemakers, as you know, traditionally, in the old days, you used to have to go to the hospital to get the download. Now they have a console beside your bed with a SIM card in it. Very, very dangerous. They are changing it. It's moved much more to a Bluetooth type model. But ultimately, I'm not here to scare you. Life will continue. But be careful with your mobile phone because it is the greatest target for all three of those classes of individual that I've identified: nation states, criminals, and fraudsters. Okay, folks, that's more or less it from me. I'm happy to take a question or two and get us back on track if anyone has a question. Jim.
We know that whatever we say or whatever we write over the networks, it is recorded because it is passing through the routers, servers, and the services of the IT company, whatever it is, or telecommunication company. How can we protect ourselves? We must stop using it. That's the only way.
Well, I mean, the history of mass communications has been, they've never really been secure. Everything back to smoke signals, back to the fixed line phone, which was really easy to knock off. The difference with mobile, of course, is they have to find out where you are to insert what they refer to as a PIC into the MSC to take photo. The reality is you have very strong security focus here in Saudi. I wouldn't be over concerned when you're in Saudi, but if you're important or you're doing important business, I wouldn't be using my mobile phone overseas, particularly in the region. I don't want to get too controversial here, but one tip I would like you to do, I'm going to get taken out by a chair now, is let your phone power down. That is, take all the power out of your phone and then take out your SIM. Okay? If you are afraid of your phone being knocked off, let your phone power down automatically and take out your SIM. But, you know, just to assure you, your telecom networks here in Saudi are very focused in ensuring you remain secure. Okay, folks, many thanks for your time. Thank you.